Consider for a moment where you stand right now in your journey towards your dreams. Perhaps you feel you've come a long way, yet the final goal still seems just out of reach. Or maybe you're in the midst of what seems like an endless struggle, wondering if you'll ever see the fruits of your labor. Wherever you are, I say unto you, you are in the final stretch. The realization of your vision is closer than you could possibly imagine. But what does it mean to be in the final stretch? It is not a matter of time or distance as the world perceives it. It is a state of consciousness, a shift in perception that can catapult you from where you are to where you desire to be. The final stretch is a critical juncture where your unwavering faith and persistent imagination can bridge the gap between your current reality and your desired state. Let us delve deeper into this profound truth. Your outer world, everything you experience in your physical reality, is nothing more than a reflection of your inner world. It is a mirror faithfully reflecting back to you the sum total of your beliefs, assumptions, and most importantly, your imaginative acts. When you understand this, truly understand it, you realize that the distance between you and your vision is not a physical distance at all. It is simply the space between your current self-concept and the self-concept of your vision realized. This understanding is crucial, for it shifts the entire paradigm of achievement. No longer are you struggling against external forces or waiting for favorable circumstances. You are simply aligning your consciousness with the version of you that has already achieved your vision. This alignment, this shift in self-concept, is the true final stretch. But how, you may ask, does one navigate this final stretch? The answer lies in the power of your wonderful human imagination. For your imagination is not a mere fantasy maker, it is the very workshop in which reality is forged. When you imagine yourself as having already achieved your vision, when you assume the feeling of your desire realized, you are not engaging in idle daydreaming. You are engaging in the most powerful creative act known to man. Let us take a moment to truly understand this. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience in the outer world. It accepts as true whatever you feel to be true. And once it accepts an idea as true, it proceeds to bring it into manifestation in your physical reality. This is why the ability to persist in your imaginal act, especially when outer circumstances seem to contradict it, is so crucial in the final stretch. Consider the biblical phrase, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. This is not about blind belief in something external. It is about the faith that comes from feeling the reality of your vision in the realm of imagination, knowing that this feeling is the very substance and evidence of its physical manifestation. In the final stretch, this faith becomes your beacon, guiding you through any doubts or setbacks that may arise. But let me be clear, navigating the final stretch is not about sitting idly and waiting for things to magically appear in your life. It is about a fundamental shift in consciousness that naturally leads to inspired action. When you truly feel the reality of your vision achieved, your actions naturally align with that feeling. You begin to think, speak, and act from the perspective of already being the person who has realized that vision. Let us explore this further with an example. Imagine a man who aspires to be a successful author. He has written his book, but now faces the challenges of publishing and gaining recognition. In the old paradigm, he might frantically send out query letters, constantly worry about rejection, always feeling the lack of success. But in doing so, he is affirming his current state of being unpublished and unrecognized. He is living from the assumption that success is still a distant goal. And so the universe faithfully reflects this assumption back to him. Now, imagine this same man shifting his approach as he enters the final stretch. Instead of focusing on the absence of success, he assumes the feeling of being a successful author. He feels the satisfaction of holding his published book, the joy of connecting with his readers, the sense of accomplishment that comes with recognition. He lives each day from this feeling, carrying himself with the confidence and purpose of someone who has already achieved his vision. In this state, he no longer desperately chases after successes. He may still take actions towards publishing, but he does so from a place of inner certainty rather than anxious need. And in doing so, he becomes magnetic to opportunities that align with his vision. He allows success to flow into his life, drawn by the power of his assumption and the clarity of his imaginal act. This principle applies to every area of your life, my friends. Whether your vision is related to career, relationships, health, or any other aspect of life, the key to navigating the final stretch is to live from the end. Feel the reality of your vision now in your imagination and persist in this feeling regardless of outer circumstances. Now I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, isn't this just positive thinking? Isn't this denial of my current reality? And to this, I say emphatically no. This is not about denying your current circumstances. It is about understanding the true nature of reality and the creative power of your consciousness. Your current circumstances are nothing more than the fruit of your past assumptions and imaginal acts. They have no power to determine your future, unless you give them that power by continuing to focus on them and feel their reality. When you shift your focus, when you assume a new self-concept aligned with your vision, you are not denying reality. You are exercising your divine right to choose which reality you wish to experience. Remember, the outer world is dead. It has no life of its own. It is your consciousness that gives life to your experiences. When you wait for your circumstances to change before you feel the reality of vision, you are putting your power in the hands of shadows, reflections of past states of consciousness. But when you change your inner state, when you assume the feeling of your vision realized, you cause the outer world to rearrange itself to match your new inner reality. This, my dear friends, is the true secret to navigating the final stretch. It is about aligning yourself with the law of assumption, recognizing that your vision is seeking you just as you are seeking it, and allowing it to flow into your experience through the power of your imagination and feeling. But let me warn you, this final stretch is not always a smooth path. The old habits of reacting to external circumstances, of letting your feelings be dictated by what you see, are deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness. As you navigate this crucial phase of your journey, you may find resistance arising within you. Doubts may creep in. Old patterns may try to reassert themselves. When this happens, do not fight against these thoughts and feelings. Simply observe them, acknowledge them, and then gently return to your new assumed state. For the war is not won by battling against what you don't want, but by persistently embodying the feeling of what you do want. This persistence, this unwavering faith in the face of contrary evidence, is what distinguishes those who successfully navigate the final stretch from those who fall short of their vision. I like tuning a radio. When you're trying to listen to a particular station, you don't focus on eliminating all the other stations. You simply tune into the frequency you desire. In the same way, as you navigate the final stretch, you don't need to fight against your current reality or forcefully push away doubts and fears. You simply need to tune yourself to the frequency of your vision realized, to align yourself with the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This tuning is done through your imagination and your ability to generate feeling states. Your imagination is the dial that allows you to tune into different frequencies of experience. As you use your imagination to assume the feeling of your vision realized, you are tuning yourself to that frequency, allowing the corresponding experiences to flow into your life. But remember, my friends, This is not a one-time event. Navigating the final stretch requires consistent effort. Just as an athlete in the final stretch of a race must maintain their focus and effort until they cross the finish line, you too must persist in your imaginal act until your vision manifests in your outer reality. This is about persistently assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, about living from that state day in and day out until it becomes your new normal. As you do this, you will find that the very concept of striving begins to fade from your consciousness. For how can you strive for what you already feel as real? How can you struggle towards what you are already experiencing in your imagination? This shift in perception is the key to effortlessly navigating the final stretch, to experiencing the realization of your vision with grace and ease. Now, some of you may be wondering, but Neville, how can I maintain this feeling state when my outer world shows no signs of change? How can I persist when the final stretch seems to go on indefinitely? And to this I say, your imagination is more powerful than any physical circumstance. Consider for a moment, have you ever been so engrossed in a book or a film that you lost all sense of your surroundings? In those moments, were you not feeling the reality of a world that existed only in your imagination? Your feelings were real, even though the events were imaginary. This is the power you must harness to navigate the final stretch. You must use your imagination to create scenes that imply the fulfillment of your vision. If your vision is a business success, imagine closing a major deal or receiving accolades for your achievements. If it's a vision of perfect health, imagine the feeling of vitality coursing through your body or the joy of engaging in activities that your current condition might limit. Feel these states as vividly and as consistently as you can. The key is to make these imaginal acts as real to you as possible. Engage all your senses. If you're imagining business success, feel the weight of the pen as you sign that important contract. Hear the applause of your peers. Smell the leather of your new office chair. Make it real in your mind and the feelings will naturally follow. But here's a crucial point, my friends. As you navigate the final stretch, do not become fixated on specific events or outcomes. The goal is to capture the essence of the feeling state associated with your vision realized, for it is this feeling state that is the true attractor of your desire. Let me illustrate this with an example. Suppose your vision is of finding your perfect life partner. You might be tempted to imagine a specific person or a particular sequence of events leading to your meeting. While this can be a useful starting point, it is limiting. Instead, capture the feeling essence of being in a loving, fulfilling relationship. What does it feel like to be deeply understood and accepted? How does it feel to share your life with someone who complements you perfectly? What is the feeling of love, companionship, and mutual growth? By focusing on the feeling essence rather than specific outcomes, you allow the universe to bring your vision to you in ways that might far exceed your specific imaginings. You open yourself to possibilities beyond what your current mindset can conceive. This is how you navigate the final stretch with grace and openness, allowing your vision to unfold in the most beautiful and appropriate way. As you persist in this practice, you may find that your outer world begins to shift in subtle ways. Perhaps opportunities you never noticed before suddenly seem to appear, or solutions to long-standing problems come to you effortlessly, or people respond to you differently in a way that aligns with your vision. These are all signs that you are successfully navigating the final stretch, that your inner shift is creating ripples in your outer reality. Don't discount these small changes. Celebrate them. See them as confirmation that the law is working, that your assumption is taking root. But don't become attached to them or anxiously look for them. Simply acknowledge them with gratitude and continue to live from your assumed state. For in the final stretch, it is your unwavering faith and persistent imagination that will carry you through to the full realization of your vision. As you continue to navigate the final stretch, larger changes will begin to manifest. The full realization of your vision will unfold in ways that might surprise and delight you. But remember, the outer manifestation is not the goal. The goal is the state of consciousness from which your vision naturally flows. This is a crucial point, my friends. When you're truly living from the end, when you're fully embodying the state of your vision realized, you no longer need the outer manifestation to feel complete. You're already whole, already fulfilled in your imagination. And paradoxically, it's in this state of completeness that your vision flows most easily into your experience. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, what about action? Don't we need to do something to bring our vision into manifestation? And to this I say, yes, action is part of the process. But in the final stretch, it's inspired action, not frantic doing. When you're living from the state of your vision realized, ideas and opportunities will naturally present themselves to you. You'll feel inspired to take certain actions, to move in certain directions. These actions won't feel like effort or struggle. They'll feel natural, joyful, almost effortless. This is the difference between forcing and allowing. When you're trying to make something happen, actions feel forced, stressful, born out of fear and lack. When you're living from the end, actions flow naturally from your assumed state, guided by an inner wisdom that knows exactly how to bring your vision into manifestation. Consider the example of a flower reaching for the sun. It doesn't strain or struggle. It simply grows naturally in the direction of the light. You, my dear listeners, are no different. When you align yourself with the feeling of your vision realized, you allow your own blossoming to occur naturally and effortlessly. Your actions in the final stretch become a joyful expression of your inner state, rather than a desperate attempt to change your reality. But let me be clear, this state of allowing is not passive. It requires an active use of your imagination, a deliberate assumption of the state of your wish fulfilled. It requires faith, not blind faith, in an external power, but faith in the creative power of your own consciousness. This faith is not about believing that your vision will manifest someday in the future. It's about believing that your vision is already yours in the realm of imagination, and that the outer world must inevitably conform to this inner reality. As you cultivate this faith, as you persist in your assumed state, you'll begin to see more and more evidence of your vision manifesting in your outer world. These signs may start small, an overheard conversation that confirms your assumption, an unexpected opportunity that aligns with your vision, a shift in how others respond to you. Do not discount these signs, no matter how small they may seem, for they are confirmation that you are successfully navigating the final stretch, that your inner world is indeed shaping your outer reality. As we near the conclusion of our discussion, I want to address a common concern that arises when people find themselves in the final stretch. Many worry that if they fully embrace the feeling of their vision realized before it physically manifests, they'll become complacent or lose their motivation to take action in the world. But I assure you, my friends, the opposite is true. When you're feeling the reality of your vision, when you're aligned with the state of your wish fulfilled, you become more motivated, more inspired than ever before. But it's a different kind of motivation. It's not the frantic, anxious energy of someone desperately chasing a goal. It's the calm, confident energy of someone who knows their vision is already a reality. In this state, you take inspired action not because you feel you have to, but because you want to. You move through the final stretch with a sense of joy and anticipation, eager to see how your inner state will manifest in your outer world. This is the true gift of living from the end. It's not just about realizing a specific vision, although that will happen. It's about aligning yourself with the flow of life, with the creative power of the universe. It's about recognizing your own divine nature and allowing it to express itself fully through you. In this state of alignment, as you navigate the final stretch, you become a channel for the infinite possibilities of the universe. Ideas flow to you effortlessly. Opportunities present themselves naturally. The right people and circumstances appear in your life at the perfect time. This is the magic of living from the state of your wish fulfilled, of navigating the final stretch with grace and certainty. But remember, this magic is not something external to you. It's not some cosmic force that you need to appease or manipulate. It is the natural expression of your own consciousness when it's aligned with truth. You are the magic, you are the miracle, you are the creative power you've been seeking. And in the final stretch, this power becomes fully activated, propelling you towards the realization of your vision with unstoppable momentum. As we draw our time together to a close, I want to leave you with a final thought. The principle we've explored tonight, the fetch achieve going, a vision awaits, is not just about achieving a specific goal or realizing a particular vision. It's about recognizing your true nature as a divine creative being. It's about aligning yourself with the fundamental laws of the universe and allowing your grandest visions to flow into your experience. When you live from this understanding, everything changes. The world becomes a friendly place filled with infinite possibilities. You no longer see yourself as a small, separate being struggling against external forces. Instead, you recognize yourself as the creator of your reality, the author of your life story. In this state, there's no need to fear the final stretch, for you understand that everything you desire is already within you, waiting to be expressed. Your job is simply to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, to live from that state, and to allow the universe to take care of the details. So, my dear friends, as you leave here tonight, I urge you to embrace the final stretch with joy and anticipation. Don't see it as a struggle, but as the thrilling conclusion to the story you've been writing. Use your mighty imagination to assume the state of your vision realized. Feel the naturalness of being or having what you desire. Live from this state. Persist in this assumption and watch as the universe rearranges itself to match your inner vision. Remember, you are not a helpless being pushed around by external turmoil. You are the operant power in your world. Your consciousness is the one and only reality. All things are possible to him who believes, for belief shapes reality. In the final stretch, this belief becomes your guiding light, leading you unerringly to the realization of your vision. Go forth from here with this knowledge. Apply it in your life. Test it, prove it to yourself. For in doing so, you'll discover the truth of who you really are. You'll tap into the limitless power that has always been within you. And you'll experience the joy, the freedom, the fulfillment that comes from living in alignment with the laws of creation. The world is waiting for you, my friends. Not as something to struggle towards, but as something to be embraced now in this very moment. It's waiting for you to recognize your true power, to step into your divine nature, to become the person who has already realized your vision. The final stretch is not a distance to be covered, but a state to be assumed. So assume it now. Feel the reality of your vision as vividly as you can. Let this feeling permeate every aspect of your being. For in truth, the final stretch is simply the moment of transition between your inner assumption and its outer manifestation. It is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, crossed by the power of your unwavering faith and persistent imagination. Remember, the kingdom of heaven is within you. The power to shape your reality is within you. You are the miracle you've been waiting for. Embrace this truth, live from it, and watch as your world transforms before your eyes. The final stretch is not the end of your journey, but the beginning of a new way of being. As you navigate this final stretch, you may encounter moments of doubt or disbelief. This is natural. Your old patterns of thought and feeling will try to reassert themselves. When this happens, do not fight against these doubts. Simply observe them, acknowledge them, and then gently return to your assumed state. Persistence is key. The more you practice living from the end, the more natural it will become, and the more swiftly you will move through the final stretch to the realization of your vision. Go forth now, my dear friends, and apply this principle in your lives. Embrace the final stretch with confidence and joy. Feel the reality of your vision now before any external evidence appears. Live from that state, persist in that assumption, and watch as the world rearranges itself to match your inner vision. For this is the true secret to navigating the final stretch. And it is the key to realizing the grandest vision you hold for your life. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have everything they desire, while others struggle their entire lives? The difference isn't luck, intelligence, or even hard work. It's something far more powerful, something I discovered that transformed my life in just 7 days. Today, I'm going to share with you the 5 habits that will revolutionize your existence. But before I do, I need you to understand something crucial. Everything you're about to hear has been tested, proven, and verified not just by me, but by thousands who have applied these principles. Let's start with habit number 1, the morning mental diet. This habit alone has the power to reshape your entire reality. Here's exactly how to do it. When you first wake up, don't move. Keep your eyes closed. For the next 15 minutes, you're going to enter what I call the creation zone. In this state, your brain waves are perfectly aligned for programming your subconscious mind. Begin by feeling your desired reality. Notice I'm not saying visualize, I'm saying feel. If you want financial abundance, feel the sensation of checking your bank account and seeing millions. Feel the texture of the leather seats in your dream car. Feel the ocean breeze on your face as you sit on the balcony of your beach house. I remember when I first started this practice, I was sleeping on a hard mattress in a cramped room, but every morning I would feel the sensation of waking up in my dream home. I felt the plush carpet under my feet, the warmth of the morning sun streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows, the peace of achieving everything I desired. Within days, my external reality began shifting to match my internal experience. This isn't coincidence, it's law. Habit number 2, the constant state. This habit is about maintaining your desired state throughout the day. Most people let their circumstances dictate their state of mind. We're going to reverse that. When you walk, walk as if you've already achieved everything you desire. When you talk, speak from the perspective of someone who has it all. When you breathe, breathe as if you're already living your dream life. This isn't pretending. It's assuming the natural state of who you really are. Think about how you'd carry yourself if you were already successful. How would your posture be? How would you interact with others? How would you respond to challenges? I practice this everywhere, at the grocery store, in meetings, while driving. Instead of letting my current circumstances affect my state, I maintained the feeling of my wish fulfilled. The results were immediate and astounding. Habit number 3, the financial feeling. This habit transformed my relationship with money overnight. Every time you interact with money, spending it, receiving it, even thinking about it, maintain the feeling of unlimited abundance. Here's the key to the financial feeling. When you pay bills, feel genuine gratitude for your ability to circulate money. When you buy something, feel the joy of endless prosperity. Even when you see expensive items, feel the natural comfort of knowing you can easily afford them. I remember standing in front of luxury stores, feeling the natural sensation of being able to buy anything I desire, not from a place of lack or wanting, but from a place of knowing it was already mine. This leads us to habit number 4, the nightly review. This habit is what I call the subconscious programming session. Before sleep, your mind enters a highly receptive state. This is when you can implant your desires directly into your subconscious. Lie in bed and replay your perfect day. Not the day you just had, but the day you want to have. Feel yourself waking up in your dream home. Experience the satisfaction of achieving your goals. Feel the joy of your ideal relationships. I would lie there feeling the sensation of closing million-dollar deals, of impacting thousands of lives, of living in complete abundance. I didn't just imagine these scenes, I felt them with every fiber of my being. The 5th habit is what I call the identity shift. This is perhaps the most powerful of all. Instead of trying to change your circumstances, you change who you are at the core level. Most people try to change their lives from the outside in. They think if I get more money, a better job, or a perfect relationship, they'll finally become the person they want to be. But that's backwards. You must first become that person in your mind. Feel what it's like to be confident, successful, and fulfilled. Don't ask yourself what you need to do to become successful. Ask yourself what a successful person would do, and then naturally do those things. I remember the exact moment this clicked for me. I stopped trying to become successful and simply assumed the identity of someone who already was. My walk changed, my talk changed, my decisions changed, all naturally, all effortlessly. These 5 habits work together in perfect harmony. The morning mental diet programs your day. The constant state maintains that programming. The financial feeling transforms your relationship with abundance. The nightly review deepens the impression, and the identity shift makes it all permanent. But here's what most people don't understand. These habits aren't about changing your actions. They're about changing your state of consciousness. When your consciousness changes, your actions change automatically. Think about it. How does a wealthy person make decisions? How does a confident person handle challenges? How does a successful person view opportunities? When you assume these states of consciousness, you naturally take the actions that create these results. Let me share with you how these habits create lasting transformation. Most people try to change their lives through willpower and struggle, but that's like trying to push a boulder uphill. These habits work with the natural laws of consciousness. Consider this: every morning when you practice the mental diet, you're actually reprogramming your subconscious mind. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined with feeling. It simply accepts whatever you impress upon it. I discovered that the key is persistence. When I first started, my logical mind would argue, saying this isn't real. But I persisted in maintaining the feeling of my desired reality. Within days, my external world began rearranging itself to match my internal state. Let me show you how to deepen these habits. With the constant state, you must understand that every moment is an opportunity to reinforce your new reality. When you're standing in line at the coffee shop, feel wealthy. When you're stuck in traffic, feel successful. When you're waiting for an elevator, feel accomplished. I remember catching myself slipping back into old patterns of thought. But instead of fighting these thoughts, I would gently return to my desired state. It's like training a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger it becomes. The financial feeling requires a complete shift in how you view money. Most people feel tension, worry, or lack when dealing with money. You must train yourself to feel relaxed, confident, and abundant in all financial situations. When I began this practice, I would walk into expensive stores and feel completely at home. I would look at luxury cars and feel the natural sensation of ownership. I would read about million-dollar deals and feel completely comfortable with those numbers. The nightly review becomes more powerful when you add emotional intensity to your scenes. Don't just passively observe your desired reality. Be fully immersed in it. Feel the textures, hear the sounds, experience the emotions. I would spend hours perfecting my scenes, making them more vivid, more real, more alive. The key is to feel the naturalness of your desired state. It shouldn't feel like fantasy. It should feel like memory. The identity shift is where all these habits culminate. You're not just changing your thoughts or actions, you're changing who you are at the deepest level. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about awakening to who you truly are. Think about how master pianist plays. They don't think about each note. They express their mastery naturally. That's how these habits should feel. They should become as natural as breathing. Let me reveal something profound about these habits that most people never realize. Every single moment of your day is either reinforcing your old reality or creating your new one. There is no neutral ground. When you're practicing the morning mental diet, you're not just daydreaming, you're actually selecting which version of reality you'll experience. Think of it like tuning a radio to a specific frequency. The station you tune into determines what you'll hear. I discovered that the key to making this habit unstoppable is to focus on the feeling tone of your desire. If you want wealth, don't just imagine money. Feel the security, the freedom, the peace that comes with abundance. Make it so real that your palms tingle with the sensation. The constant state becomes even more powerful when you understand this. Your current circumstances are just shadows of past thinking. They have no power to dictate your state unless you give them that power. This was a game changer for me. When I faced challenges or setbacks, instead of reacting to them, I would immediately shift to the feeling of my desire fulfilled. If someone questioned my goals, I maintained my state. If circumstances seemed contrary to my desires, I persisted in my chosen state. Here's something critical about the financial feeling that transformed my entire relationship with money. Money is just frozen desire. When you maintain the feeling of abundance, you're actually melting that frozen energy and allowing it to flow freely in your life. I remember standing in line at the grocery store, watching others stress about prices. But I had trained myself to feel wealthy regardless of my bank balance. Every transaction became an opportunity to circulate abundance, to feel the joy of prosperity. The nightly review becomes magnetic when you add this dimension. As you're reviewing your perfect day, feel the satisfaction of already having lived it. Don't preview it, review it. This subtle shift makes all the difference. I would lie in bed feeling the profound gratitude of another successful day, even before that day had physically manifested. I felt the handshakes, heard the congratulations, experienced the joy of achievements as if they had already happened. The identity shift deepens when you realize this truth. You're not becoming someone new. You're remembering who you truly are. This isn't about change, it's about recognition. You're simply recognizing your true unlimited nature. Most people think success is about doing, but it's really about being. When you shift your identity, the doing follows naturally. I stopped trying to figure out how to become successful and simply started being successful in my mind and emotions. Here's something few understand about these habits. They work on the principle of assumption. When you assume something is true, your subconscious mind must make it so. It has no choice. It's like giving it a direct command. Let me share something revolutionary about these habits that changed everything for me. Most people think time is linear, that tomorrow comes after today. But when you master these habits, you realize time is actually simultaneous. All possibilities exist now. The morning mental diet becomes exponentially more powerful when you grasp this. You're not creating something new. You're selecting from infinite existing possibilities. Every morning, as you lie there feeling your desired reality, you're actually tuning into a version of you that already has everything you want. I discovered that consistency is crucial. Even if you don't feel like doing it, even if your logical mind argues against it, you must maintain these practices. It's like building a fire. You can't light it once and expect it to burn forever. You must tend to it. The constant state takes on new meaning when you understand this principle. Your external world is nothing but your internal world pushed out. Everything you see, every person you meet, every circumstance you encounter is simply showing you your previous state of consciousness. This was mind-blowing for me. I realized that when I maintained my desired state throughout the day, I wasn't just pretending. I was actually shifting the entire universe to match my consciousness. Every moment became an opportunity for transformation. Let me share a deeper aspect of the financial feeling that most never grasp. Money is just a symbol of exchange, but abundance is a state of being. When you maintain the feeling of abundance, you're not just attracting money, you're becoming the very essence of prosperity. I remember walking into stores and feeling completely different about prices. Instead of seeing something as expensive, I would feel genuine appreciation for its value. Instead of wondering if I could afford something, I naturally knew everything was within my means. The nightly review becomes transformative. When you add this dimension, as you're reviewing your perfect day, feel the relief of knowing it's done. Feel the satisfaction of completion. Feel the natural assumption that this is simply your way of life now. I would lie there feeling the weight of achievement, the warmth of accomplishment, the peace of knowing my desires were already fulfilled. This wasn't hope or wishful thinking. It was a knowing beyond all doubt. The identity shift deepens when you realize this truth. Every version of you already exists. The successful you, the wealthy you, the confident you, they're all present now. You're not creating these versions, you're selecting which one to experience. Think about this. When you change channels on a TV, you're not creating new programs. You're tuning into broadcasts that already exist. Similarly, when you shift your identity, you're tuning into a version of you that already exists in infinite possibility. These habits work together in perfect harmony because they all operate on the same principle, the principle of consciousness. Whatever you're conscious of, you must experience. Whatever you feel is real must become real. Let me reveal something that will fundamentally change how you understand these habits. Most people think success requires years of hard work, but I discovered that success happens in an instant. The instant you fully accept your desired state as real. Think about this when you're practicing the morning mental diet. You're not just visualizing a better future. You're actually stepping into a new dimension of yourself. Each morning becomes a portal to infinite possibilities. This is why the first 15 minutes of your day are sacred. I remember the exact moment this clicked for me. Instead of starting my day with worry and rush preparation, I would lie there in complete serenity, feeling my desired reality with such intensity that my current circumstances seemed like a distant dream. Here's a crucial aspect of the constant state that most miss. Your state of consciousness is your real environment. The physical world you see is just a shadow of past states. When you maintain your desired state throughout the day, you're actually living in your new reality becomes visible to others. Let me share something profound about maintaining your state. Every person you encounter, every situation you face, is actually an opportunity to reinforce your new reality. When someone talks about limitation, silently maintain your state of abundance. When circumstances appear challenging, intensify your feeling of success. The financial feeling becomes revolutionary when you understand this. Money doesn't flow to you. It flows through you. When you maintain the feeling of unlimited abundance, you become a channel for wealth. Every financial transaction becomes a celebration of prosperity. I would look at my bank account with the same feeling regardless of the numbers shown. I would pay bills with genuine joy, knowing that every dollar spent would return multiplied. I would treat myself to quality experiences, maintaining the natural feeling that I could afford anything I truly desired. The nightly review takes on new power when you grasp this. Your subconscious mind is most receptive in the last moments before sleep. This is when you can impress your desires most deeply. It's like programming tomorrow while you sleep. I would create scenes so vivid, so real, that my physical reality seemed like the dream. I would feel the texture of success, hear the sounds of achievement, experience the emotions of fulfillment with such intensity that my subconscious had no choice but to accept them as real. The identity shift becomes unstoppable. When you realize this, you are not your past thoughts, your current circumstances, or your future hopes. You are pure consciousness capable of assuming any state you desire. This is true power. Most people try to change their lives by changing their actions, but I discovered that when you change your identity, your actions change automatically. You don't have to force yourself to act successful. You naturally do what a successful person would do because you're operating from that state of consciousness. Here's something crucial about these habits. They're not separate practices. They're different aspects of the same truth. The truth that your consciousness is the only reality. Everything else, your body, your environment, your circumstances, is just consciousness pushed out into form. The morning mental diet becomes transformative when you realize this. In those first moments of waking, your brain operates in theta waves, the same state heed by advanced meditators. This is why those 15 minutes are more powerful than hours of affirmations during the day. I remember experiencing this profound truth. During these morning sessions, I wasn't just imagining success, I was actually experiencing success at a neurological level. My brain couldn't distinguish between my imagined reality and physical reality, creating new neural pathways of achievement. Here's the deeper aspect of the constant state that changed everything. Every emotion you feel throughout the day is actually a choice. When you understand this, you realize you can choose to feel successful, wealthy, and fulfilled regardless of external circumstances. Think about this, your current reality is just a shadow of past emotional states. When you maintain your desired emotional state consistently, you're actually creating your future reality. Every moment becomes a point of power, a chance to reinforce your new state of being. The financial feeling transforms when you grasp this principle. Money is just crystallized consciousness. When you maintain the feeling of abundance, you're actually altering the energy field around you. This is why opportunities seem to appear out of nowhere when you master this habit. I discovered that every financial transaction is actually an energy exchange. When I bought coffee, paid rent, or made any purchase, I maintained the feeling that I was circulating abundance, not losing money. This subtle shift created a constant flow of prosperity in my life. The nightly review becomes magical when you understand this. Your subconscious mind processes information in symbols and feelings. When you review your perfect day before sleep, you're actually feeding your subconscious mind a new blueprint for reality. I would lie there feeling the satisfaction of closed deals, the joy of achievement, the peace of financial freedom. But here's the key. I wouldn't just imagine these scenes, I would feel them with such intensity that my body responded as if they were actually happening. The identity shift reaches new depths when you realize this truth. Your identity isn't something you create. It's something you select from infinite possibilities. Just as a radio can tune into different stations, your consciousness can tune into different versions of you. This understanding transformed how I approach change. Instead of trying to become something new, I simply tuned into the version of me that already had everything I desired. The struggle disappeared, replaced by a natural assumption of my chosen state. Here's something profound about these habits. They work on the principle of resonance. Whatever state you maintain consistently becomes your dominant frequency, and the universe must respond by bringing you experiences that match that frequency. The morning mental diet becomes even more crucial. When you understand this, those first 15 minutes are actually programming the quantum field. When you feel your desired reality with intensity, you're not just affecting your mind, you're reorganizing the very fabric of reality. I discovered that during these morning sessions, maintaining pure focus is essential. Any doubt, any questioning of how create static in the quantum field. The key is to feel with such completeness that questions become irrelevant. You simply know it's done. Here's something profound about the constant state that few understand. Every moment of your day is a choice point in quantum reality. Each time you maintain your desired state despite contrary evidence, you're actually collapsing quantum possibilities into your chosen reality. Think about this. When you're in line at a store, sitting in traffic, or facing any situation that would normally trigger negative emotions, you have a quantum opportunity. By maintaining your desired state, you're actually selecting which parallel reality you'll experience next. The financial feeling becomes extraordinary when you grasp this principle. Money is just frozen time and energy. When you maintain the feeling of unlimited abundance, you're actually altering the quantum field that governs financial flow. I remember walking past expensive stores, looking at luxury items, and feeling complete ownership, not from a place of wanting, but from a place of having. This wasn't pretense, it was selecting from infinite quantum possibilities the reality where these things were already mine. The nightly review takes on cosmic significance when you understand this. During sleep, Your consciousness interfaces directly with the quantum field. Your nightly scene review isn't just programming your mind, it's programming reality itself. I would lie there feeling the absolute naturalness of my desires fulfilled. I discovered that the key isn't to reach for the feeling, but to settle into it like sinking into a comfortable chair. The more natural it feels, the more quickly it manifests. The identity shift becomes reality altering when you grasp this truth. You are not a physical being trying to affect the quantum field. You are the quantum field expressing itself as a physical being. This understanding changes everything. Most people think they need to overcome their circumstances. But I discovered that circumstances are just crystallized consciousness. When you shift your identity at the quantum level, circumstances must shift to match your new frequency. Here's something revolutionary about these habits. They work because they align you with the fundamental nature of reality. Reality isn't solid. It's a responsive field of infinite possibility, constantly shaped by consciousness. Think about this. Every great achievement in history first existed as a state of consciousness in someone's mind. The Wright brothers felt the reality of flight before planes existed. Every inventor, every innovator, every achiever first lived their desire in consciousness. Consider for a moment those times in your life when you felt lost, uncertain, not knowing which path to take or what action to pursue. Perhaps you're in such a situation right now. The world around you may seem chaotic, options may appear limited, and the future uncertain. But I say unto you, in these very moments of apparent confusion and indecision lies your greatest opportunity for growth and manifestation. But what is this that you must do when you don't know what to do? It is not a matter of external action or logical analysis. It is a state of consciousness, a shift in your very being that aligns you with the creative power of the universe. It is about recognizing that the answer, the guidance, the path forward is already within you, waiting to be imagined into being. Let us delve deeper into this profound truth. Your outer world, every experience you have, every circumstance you encounter, is nothing more than a reflection of your inner world, your consciousness. It is a mirror faithfully reflecting back to you the sum total of your beliefs, assumptions, and most importantly, your imaginal acts. When you understand this, truly understand it, you realize that by carefully choosing and vividly imagining a desired state, even in the face of uncertainty, you are actively creating a new reality that will unfold in your experience. This understanding is crucial, for it shifts the entire paradigm of how you approach moments of uncertainty. No longer are you a helpless being at the mercy of external circumstances, desperately seeking guidance from the outside world. You become the active creator of your reality, knowing that as you imagine and feel a desired state, the universe must rearrange itself to match this new inner assumption, providing the guidance and clarity you seek. But how, you may ask, can one tap into this inner wisdom when the outer world seems so chaotic and uncertain? The answer lies in the creative power of your wonderful human imagination, combined with the intensity of your feeling and belief. For your imagination is not a mere fantasy maker, and your feelings are not mere reactions to external stimuli. Together, they form the very workshop in which reality is forged. Let us take a moment to truly understand this. Your subconscious mind, which is one with the universal creative force, does not distinguish between what you vividly imagine and feel as true and what you actually experience in the outer world. It accepts as true whatever you feel to be true in your imaginal acts. And once it accepts an idea as true, it proceeds to bring it into manifestation in your physical reality, regardless of how uncertain or impossible the situation may seem to your rational mind. So when you find yourself in a moment of confusion, not knowing what to do, this is what you must do. Turn within to your imagination. Create a scene that implies your desired outcome. has already been realized. Feel the relief, the clarity, the certain knowing the perfect path has been revealed to you. Live in this imaginal act as though it were your physical reality. This, my dear listeners, is the essence of what to do when you don't know what to do. It is about recognizing that the power to shape your reality, to find clarity in confusion, lies within you, waiting to be expressed through your conscious imaginal acts. It is about understanding that your outer world of uncertainty is nothing more than a reflection of your inner conversations and imaginal acts, which can be radically altered by assuming a new state in imagination. Consider the biblical phrase, "Be still and know that I am God." This is not a mere poetic expression or a call for passive acceptance. It is a statement of cosmic law, an invitation to recognize the power of your inner being. When you become still, when you quiet the chatter of your worried mind and enter into your imagination, you are connecting with the God presence within you, the source of all wisdom and guidance. But let me be clear, this turning within, this use of your imagination in moments of uncertainty is not about escapism or denial of your current circumstances. It is about a total immersion in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, of the perfect solution already realized. When you truly embody this practice, you naturally assume the thoughts, feelings, and inner conversations of the person who has already received the guidance they seek. You go to sleep not as the person bound by uncertainty and confusion, but as the person who is clear, confident, moving purposefully towards their desired outcome. Let us explore this further with an example. Imagine a person facing a critical decision in their life, perhaps choosing between two career paths, unsure of which to pursue. Their outer reality shows no clear signs of which path to take. Now imagine this person deciding to turn within to their imagination. As they quiet their mind, they create a scene that implies they have already made the perfect choice and are thriving in their new career. They feel the satisfaction, the certainty, the joy of knowing they are on the right path. They allow this feeling to permeate every cell of their being. They live in this imaginal act not just for a moment, but they return to it again and again, especially as they drift off to sleep at night. When they awaken, something has shifted. They may not see immediate external changes in their circumstances, but internally, they are no longer the same person. They have experienced the reality of clarity and certainty, and this new self-concept begins to reshape their outer world. In the days and weeks that follow, they find themselves naturally drawn to information, people, and opportunities related to one of the career paths. They approach the decision-making process with a newfound sense of calm and confidence. Ideas and insights that were previously obscured suddenly become clear. And as they continue to live from this state of clarity and certainty in their imagination, their outer world begins to reflect this inner knowing. The perfect path reveals itself, often in ways they could never have logically planned or anticipated. This principle applies to every aspect of your life where you find yourself uncertain or not knowing what to do. Whether you're facing a relationship challenge, a health concern, a financial decision, or any other situation that leaves you feeling lost, the key is to first assume the state of clarity and knowing in your imagination. Feel the reality of having perfect guidance, of knowing exactly what to do. Live in that state, in your imagination, knowing that as you do so, you are planting a seed in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind that must grow into your outer reality. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, how can simply imagining a solution really provide guidance when I truly don't know what to do? Surely I need to gather more information or seek advice from others. And to this I say external information and advice can certainly play a role, but they are secondary to the wisdom that comes from within. When you turn to your imagination first, when you assume the state of clarity and knowing, you align yourself with infinite intelligence. From this aligned state, you will be guided to the right information, the right people, the right circumstances that will support your desired outcome. Remember, the outer world is dead. It has no life of its own. It is your consciousness that gives life to your experiences. When you remain in a state of confusion and uncertainty, constantly seeking answers outside yourself, you are breathing life into a reality that perpetuates that confusion. But when you turn within, when you assume the state of clarity, and knowing in your imagination, you set in motion a series of events that must culminate in the outer expression of this new inner reality. This, my dear friends, is the true secret to knowing what to do when you don't know what to do. It is about aligning your inner conversations and imaginal acts with the state of clarity and guidance, recognizing that this desired reality is seeking expression through you, and allowing it to flow into your experience through the power of your imagination and unwavering belief. But let me warn you, this shift in consciousness, this practice of turning within when faced with uncertainty, is not always an easy task. The old habits of worry, of seeking answers outside yourself, of feeling lost and confused, are deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness. As you embark on this new way of approaching uncertainty, you may find resistance arising within you. Doubts may creep in. Old thought patterns may try to reassert themselves. When this happens, do not fight against these thoughts and feelings. Simply observe them, acknowledge them, and then gently return to your imaginal act of clarity and knowing. For the war is not won by battling against what you don't want, but by persistently embodying what you do want. This persistence, this unwavering commitment to living in a state of clarity and guidance in your imagination, even in the face of outer uncertainty, is what allows you to truly transform your reality. Think of it like tuning a radio. When you're trying to listen to a particular station, you don't focus on eliminating all the other stations. You simply tune into the frequency you desire. In the same way, you don't need to fight against your chaos of confusion or forcefully push away thoughts of uncertainty. You simply need to tune yourself to the frequency of clarity and guidance, to align your entire consciousness with the reality where you know exactly what to do. This tuning is done through your imagination and your ability to generate feeling states. Your imagination is the dial that allows you to tune into different frequencies of experience. As you use your imagination to fully embody the state of clarity and knowing, as you feel the reality of being divinely guided, you are tuning yourself to that frequency, allowing the corresponding experiences to flow into your life. But remember, my friends, this is not a one-time event. Turning within and using your imagination when you don't know what to do is a practice, a way of life. It's a constant choice to maintain this new approach to uncertainty, regardless of appearances. Just as you wouldn't expect to stay in shape by exercising once, you cannot expect to master this practice by using it once. This is about persistently turning within, about maintaining the consciousness of clarity and divine guiding in and day out until it becomes your new normal. As you do this, you will find that your perception of uncertainty begins to shift. What once seemed like confusing, chaotic situations now appear as opportunities for growth and new possibilities. Challenges become stepping stones to greater understanding. You begin to see yourself as the empowered being you truly are, knowing that divine guidance is always available to you through your imagination. Now some of you may be wondering, but Neville, how can I maintain this practice of turning within when my outer world still seems uncertain? How can I persist in feeling clarity and guidance when circumstances seem to contradict it? And to this I say your imagination infused with feeling is more powerful than any circumstance. Consider for a moment, have you ever been deeply moved by a story, whether in a book or a movie? In those moments, were you not feeling real emotions based on imaginary events? Your feelings were real, even though the events were not happening in your physical reality. This is the power you must harness when you turn within in moments of uncertainty. You must use your imagination to create scenarios that evoke the feelings associated with having perfect clarity and guidance. Imagine how you would feel if you knew with absolute certainty the perfect path to take. Feel the relief, the confidence, the sense of peace that would come with this knowing. Feel these states as vividly and as consistently as you can. The key is to make your imaginal act as real to you as possible. Engage all your senses. Feel the sensations in your body associated with clarity and confidence. Hear the words of wisdom that come from within. See yourself moving through your life with purpose and direction. Make it so real that your rational mind cannot distinguish between this inner experience and physical reality. But here's a crucial point, my friends. The goal is not to imagine specific solutions or outcomes. The goal is to capture the essence of the feeling state associated with having divine guidance and knowing exactly what to do. For it is this feeling state that is the true attractor of your experiences. Let me illustrate this with an example. Instead of trying to imagine the specific details of a solution to resolve, capture the feeling essence of being divinely guided. Imagine a warm, comforting light filling your being, bringing with it a sense of absolute knowing. Feel the peace, the certainty, the alignment that comes with this state. See yourself moving through your day with an unshakable confidence, knowing that each step you take is divinely guided. By focusing on the feeling essence rather than specific outcomes, you allow the universe to bring your solution to you in ways that might far exceed your specific imaginings. You open yourself to possibilities beyond what your current mindset can conceive. This is the true art of knowing what to do when you don't know what to do. It's not about forcing yourself to come up with a solution through sheer willpower. It's about aligning yourself with the truth of your divine nature, your oneness with the creative power of the universe. It's about living each day from the state of being divinely guided regardless of outer appearances. As you practice this, you may find that your outer world begins to shift in subtle ways. Perhaps you start to notice more synchronicities in your life, or you find yourself naturally drawn to information or people that provide the guidance you seek, or solutions to problems that once seemed impossible begin to present themselves effortlessly. These are all signs that your inner shift, brought about by turning within, is creating ripples in your outer reality. Don't discount these small changes. Celebrate them. See them as confirmation that the law is working, that your imaginal acts are taking root. But don't become attached to them or anxiously look for them. Simply acknowledge them with gratitude and continue to live from the state of divine guidance in your imagination. As you persist in this practice, larger changes will begin to manifest. You may find yourself navigating complex situations with ease and grace. You may notice that decisions that once paralyzed you with uncertainty now become clear and obvious. You may achieve outcomes you once thought impossible with a sense of effortless alignment. And as you continue to turn within and live from the state of divine guidance, you'll discover that life becomes an exciting adventure of ever-unfolding clarity and purpose. But remember, the outer manifestation is not the goal. The goal is the state of consciousness from which all desired experiences naturally flow. This is a crucial point, my friends. When you're truly embodying the state of being divinely guided, when you're fully living from this consciousness, you no longer need external circumstances to confirm your state. You're already whole, already complete in your knowing that you are always divinely guided. And paradoxically, it's in this state of inner assurance that you're most likely to experience a life where you always know exactly what to do. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, what about action? Don't we need to do things in the physical world to find solutions and make decisions? And to this I say, yes, action is part of the process. But it's inspired action, not anxious doing. When you're consistently turning within and living from the state of divine guidance, ideas and opportunities will naturally present themselves to you. You'll feel inspired to take certain actions, to move in certain directions. These actions won't feel like struggle or effort. They'll feel natural, joyful, almost effortless. This is the difference between trying to figure things out through sheer mental effort and allowing solutions to unfold naturally. When you're trying to force clarity, actions feel stressful, born out of fear and uncertainty. When you're living from the consciousness of divine guidance, actions flow naturally from your aligned state, guided by an inner wisdom that knows exactly what steps to take. Consider the example of a river flowing to the sea. The river doesn't strain to find its path. It doesn't force its way through obstacles. It simply flows, naturally finding the path of least resistance. You, my dear listeners, are no different. When you align yourself with the consciousness of divine guidance through your imagination, you allow your life to unfold naturally and beautifully, always knowing the perfect steps to take. But let me be clear, this state of allowing is not passive. It requires an active use of your imagination, a deliberate and focused embodiment of the state of being divinely guided. It requires faith, not blind faith in external circumstances, but faith in the creative power of your consciousness and your ability to always know what to do through your connection with infinite intelligence. This faith is not about believing that you'll figure things out someday in the future. It's about knowing that you are divinely guided now in this very moment, and that your outer world must inevitably conform to this new inner reality. As you cultivate this faith, as you persist in turning within and living from the state of divine guidance, you'll begin to see evidence of always knowing what to do in your outer world. These signs may start small, an unexpected insight that solves a problem, a chance encounter that provides exactly the information you need, a sudden clarity about a decision you've been struggling with. Do not discount these signs, no matter how small they may seem, for they are confirmation that your inner world, shaped by your imaginal acts, is indeed shaping your outer reality. They are breadcrumbs leading you to the full realization of a life where you always know is now exactly what to do, even in the face of apparent uncertainty. As we near the conclusion of our discussion, I want to address a common concern that arises when people first encounter this teaching. Many worry that turning within and relying on their imagination for guidance might somehow disconnect them from reality or lead to impractical decisions. But I assure you, my friends, the opposite is true. When you truly understand the principle of turning within for guidance, you realize that you are not separate from reality. You are the creator of your reality. As you elevate your own consciousness by connecting with the divine guidance within, you are elevating your ability to navigate the physical world with grace and wisdom. Most men live their lives in a state of perpetual distraction. They scatter their mental energy like seeds thrown carelessly upon the wind, wondering why their harvest never comes. They focus intensely upon their problems, their limitations, their past failures, and then marvel that these very things continue to manifest in their experience. But I tell you tonight, focus is the creative power of consciousness itself. And wherever you place your sustained attention, there you will find your world taking shape. The average man believes that focusing means thinking hard about something, straining and forcing the mind toward a particular object. But this is not the focus I speak of. True focus is not mental strain, it is mental absorption. It is the complete identification of consciousness with its desired state. When you truly focus, you do not think about your desire from the outside looking in, but rather you think from your desire as though it were already your lived reality. Consider the sculptor who looks upon a block of marble. He does not see stone, he sees the magnificent statue that already exists within. His focus is not upon the marble that must be chipped away, but upon the form that must be revealed. This is the quality of focus that creates worlds. The sculptor's hands become merely the instruments through which his focused vision expresses itself in the world of form. Similarly, your circumstances, your relationships, your opportunities become the instruments through which your focused consciousness expresses itself as your lived experience. But here is where most men falter. They attempt to focus while simultaneously entertaining doubt. They try to hold their desire in consciousness while allowing fear to occupy the same space. This is like trying to fill a vessel while simultaneously pouring out its contents. True focus, requires the complete displacement of contrary states. You cannot be focused upon wealth while entertaining thoughts of poverty. You cannot be focused upon health while dwelling upon illness. You cannot be focused upon love while harboring resentment. The mind that is truly focused becomes so absorbed in its desired state that opposing states find no room to exist. This brings us to a profound understanding. Focus is not something you do occasionally when you remember to desire something better. Focus must become your natural state of being. Just as a river naturally flows toward the ocean, your consciousness must naturally flow toward your desired state. This requires a fundamental reordering of your mental habits, a complete revolution in how you use your mind throughout each day. Most people believe they are victims of their circumstances, that life happens to them rather than through them. But I tell you, circumstances are simply the outpicturing of your habitual states of consciousness. Change your habitual focus, and you must change your world. This is not theory. This is the fundamental law governing all manifestation. Your world is the faithful reproduction of your inner states, and your inner states are determined by what you habitually focus upon. Now, when I speak of focusing upon your desire, I do not mean fantasizing about it or wishing for it. I mean assuming the feeling of already being what you want to be, already having what you want to have. This assumption must be so complete, so natural, that it becomes more real to you than your present circumstances. You must focus with such intensity that your desired state becomes your lived experience in consciousness, regardless of what your senses may be reporting. The great secret is this: consciousness is the only reality. What you are conscious of being, you are. What you are conscious of having, you have. What you are conscious of experiencing, you experience. But consciousness must be sustained, not merely visited. You cannot assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled for a few moments and then return to your old states of consciousness, expecting your world to change. The change in consciousness must be permanent, or at least sustained until it becomes natural to you. This is why everything you desire requires a new level of focus. Your current level of focus has produced your current results. If you want different results, you must develop a different quality of attention. You must learn to focus not with strain and effort, but with the same naturalness with which you focus upon your own existence. Just as you never doubt that you are, you must never doubt that your desire is already fulfilled in consciousness. But how does one develop this quality of focus? It begins with understanding that focus is not about forcing your mind to stay still, but of training your mind to dwell naturally in your desired state. Just as water finds its own level consciousness when properly directed, finds its natural expression in your desired state. So this requires practice, yes, but not the practice of struggle. It requires the practice of assumption, the practice of dwelling in your desired state until it becomes so familiar that it feels more natural than your current circumstances. Every time you catch your mind wandering back to old patterns, to old limitations, to old problems, you must gently but firmly redirect it to your desired state. Not with violence, not with frustration, but with the same persistence with which you would train a beloved child. Your consciousness is infinitely precious, and how you train it determines the entire quality of your life experience. The man who has learned to focus properly understands that his inner conversations create his outer world. If you spend your days talking to yourself about your problems, your limitations, your fears, then these inner conversations are weaving the very fabric of your future experiences. But if you learn to converse within yourself from the assumption that your desires are already fulfilled, then these new inner conversations begin immediately to externalize themselves as your lived reality. This is not positive thinking in the superficial sense. This is the recognition that thinking is the actual creative activity of consciousness. When you think from your desire as already fulfilled, you are not trying to convince yourself of something false. You are recognizing something true. In consciousness, your desire already exists as accomplished fact. The focus required is simply the sustained recognition of this truth until it becomes so natural that it expresses itself automatically in your world. But here's where many become confused. They believe that once they have focused properly for a time, they should see immediate results in their external world. When these results do not appear according to their timetable, they conclude that the principle does not work and return to their old patterns of focus. This is like planting a seed and then digging it up every day to see if it has grown. The seed grows in its own time, according to natural law, but only if it is left undisturbed in the proper environment. Your focused consciousness is the soil in which your desires take root and grow. But this soil must be maintained consistently. You cannot focus properly for a week and then return to old patterns of worry and doubt, expecting your desire to continue growing. The environment of consciousness must be maintained until the desire has fully externalized itself as your lived experience. This is why I emphasize that everything you desire requires a new level of focus. It is not enough to want something. Millions of people want things they never receive. It is not enough to think about something occasionally. Casual thinking produces casual results. What is required is the complete reorganization of your consciousness around your desired state. This reorganization must be so thorough that your old way of thinking becomes literally impossible for you. Consider the man who desires wealth but continues to focus upon his bills, his debts, his financial limitations. No matter how much he may want wealth, his focus is creating more of what he does not want. His consciousness is organized around lack, and lack is what he must experience. But let this same man reorganize his consciousness around wealth. Let him assume the feeling of being wealthy until it becomes natural to him, and his external world must conform to this new inner arrangement. This reorganization is not accomplished through willpower or mental effort. It is accomplished through understanding and assumption. When you truly understand that consciousness is the only reality, that what you are conscious of being you must experience as your world, then assumption becomes natural. You assume your desired state not because you are trying to make something happen, but because you recognize that in consciousness it has already happened. The quality of focus I speak of is like the focus of a lover upon the beloved. The lover does not strain to think about the beloved. Thoughts of the beloved are as naturally, constantly, joyfully. The lover does not have to remember to love. Love is the natural state from which all thinking proceeds. This is the quality of focus you must develop toward your desired state. It must become so natural, so automatic, that thinking from your desire becomes as effortless as breathing. But this level of focus requires a sacrifice. You must sacrifice your old mental habits, your old ways of thinking, your old conversations with yourself. You must sacrifice the perverse pleasure you may have taken in your problems, the identity you may have built around your limitations. Most people cling to their problems because they have become comfortable with them, familiar with them. The known misery seems safer than the unknown joy. But I tell you, you cannot serve two masters. You cannot focus upon your desire while simultaneously nurturing your problems. You cannot assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled while entertaining states that contradict this assumption. The mind that would manifest its desires must become single in its focus, undivided in its attention, unwavering in its assumption. This does not mean that you ignore practical responsibilities or become disconnected from the world around you. Rather, it means that you handle all of your practical affairs from the consciousness of your desired state already fulfilled. You pay your bills from the consciousness of wealth, not poverty. You interact with others from the consciousness of love, not fear. You approach your work from the consciousness of success, not struggle. When your focus becomes this unified, this consistent, something miraculous begins to happen. The world around you begins to reorganize itself to match your inner state. Opportunities appear that were always there but invisible to your former state of consciousness. People respond to you differently because you are radiating a different quality of consciousness. Circumstances align themselves in ways that seem miraculous, but are actually the natural result of your changed focus. This is the great work, my friends. Not the work of changing your circumstances directly, but the work of changing your consciousness so completely that new circumstances must appear. Your circumstances are not your problem. Your consciousness is your opportunity. Change your consciousness, maintain your new focus until it becomes natural, and your world must change to match. But let me warn you of the greatest enemy of sustained focus, the appearance of things. Your senses will continue to report your old reality even after you have begun to focus upon your new state. This is natural and temporary, but it is here that most people fail. They allow the evidence of their senses to convince them that their new focus is not working, and they return to their old patterns of consciousness. You must understand that the senses report the past, not the future. What you see around you now is the result of your former states of consciousness. As you maintain your new focus, as you continue to assume your desired state, the evidence of your senses will gradually change to match your new inner state. But you must be willing to persist in your assumption even when the evidence seems to contradict it. This is the faith that moves mountains, not belief in something external to yourself, but the persistent assumption of your desired state, regardless of appearances. Faith, properly understood, is focus maintained in the face of contrary evidence. It is the refusal to accept your current circumstances as permanent, coupled with the persistent assumption that your desired state is already yours in consciousness. The man who would master manifestation must become like the actor, who is so absorbed in his role that he thinks, feels, and acts from the character he is portraying. But unlike the actor who knows he is playing a role, you must become so identified with your desired state that it becomes more real to you than your former identity. You must focus so completely upon being what you want to be that your former self becomes like a half-remembered dream. This identification cannot be partial or occasional. It must be complete and continuous. Every thought must proceed from your new assumption. Every feeling must be consistent with your desired state. Every word you speak to yourself must reinforce your new identity. This is the level of focus that creates new realities, that manifests the impossible, that transforms human experience. Most people focus intensely upon what they do not want, thereby creating more of it, and then wonder why their lives are filled with unwanted experiences. They focus upon illness and create more illness. They focus upon lack and create more lack. They focus upon loneliness and create more loneliness. But the same power of focus that creates unwanted experiences can create desired experiences. The choice is always yours. But you must make the choice completely. You cannot hedge your bets, maintaining one foot in your old state, while tentatively exploring your new one. Consciousness will not be marked. It responds only to your dominant, sustained focus, not to your occasional desires or half-hearted attempts. If you would be wealthy in experience, you must be wealthy in consciousness. If you would be loved in experience, you must be loving in consciousness. If you would be successful in experience, you must be successful in consciousness. This brings us to perhaps the most important point of all. Focus is not something you do with your mind. Focus is something you become with your entire being. When you truly focus upon your desired state, your whole consciousness becomes reorganized around it. Your thoughts, your feelings, your expectations, your inner conversations, everything within you begins to harmonize with your desire. This harmony of consciousness is what creates the irresistible momentum that must externalize itself as your lived experience. The great masters throughout history have understood this principle. They did not achieve their greatness through struggle or strain, but through the sustained assumption of their desired state until it became their natural way of being. They focused so completely upon what they wanted to become that they literally became it in consciousness first. And their external achievements were simply the inevitable expression of their inner transformation. You have this same power within you. You have the ability to reorganize your entire consciousness around any state you choose to assume. But you must choose completely focus entirely and persist until your assumption becomes your natural state of being. This is not the work of a day or a week. It is the work of transformation, the work of becoming who you are truly meant to be. When you truly understand that everything you desire requires a new level of focus, you stop looking outside yourself for solutions. You stop waiting for circumstances to change before you can be happy. You stop depending upon others to give you what you want. Instead, you turn within to the only place where lasting change can occur, your own consciousness. You focus upon your desired state with such consistency and intensity that it becomes more real to you than your current circumstances. This is the path of the conscious creator, the one who understands that all creation begins in consciousness and is sustained by focus. You are not at the mercy of external forces. You are the creative power in your own experience. But this power must be consciously directed through sustained focus upon your desired states. Random thinking creates random experiences. Focused thinking creates deliberate experiences. The question is not whether you have the power to create your desired experiences. You are creating your experiences constantly through your focus. The question is whether you will use this power consciously and deliberately, or continue to use it unconsciously and randomly. Will you focus upon what you want and thereby create it? Or will you continue to focus upon what you do not want and thereby perpetuate it? Everything you desire is waiting for you in consciousness. Every state you wish to experience already exists as a potential reality within you. But potential must be activated through focus, sustained and concentrated until it becomes actual. This activation is not a one-time effort, but a continuous practice, a new way of being that must be maintained until it becomes automatic. The old you focused upon problems and created more problems. The old you focused upon limitations and created more limitations. The old you focused upon what was lacking and created more lack. But the new you, the conscious you, the awakened you, focuses upon desires and creates their fulfillment. This new you understands that focus is the creative power of God operating through human consciousness, and therefore focuses only upon states that are worthy of creation. My friends, I leave you tonight with this truth. You are the focus of infinite consciousness in individual expression. How you choose to focus is conscious determines the entire quality of your experience. Focus upon love, and love surrounds you. Focus upon abundance, and abundance flows to you. Focus upon joy, and joy fills your days. But focus upon fear, lack, or limitation, and these too will be your experience. The choice is always yours, the power is always within you, and the time is always now. Everything you desire requires a new level of focus, not the scattered attention of the past, but the concentrated power of consciousness deliberately directed toward your chosen end. When you truly focus in this way, when you become what you want to be in consciousness first, your world has no choice but to conform to your inner conviction. This is the law, this is the way, and this is your inheritance as a conscious being in a universe of infinite possibility.